John Martin, he was kind of the ringleader of his class.
If he could run, climb over it, punch it, do it, he was all over it, never sat down, really, really active.
It kind of came on pretty quickly how we found out. We had just been on 2 different vacations, one in Vermont and one at the beach down in South Carolina, and he seemed to have done fine on those trips, but then when we got back we started to notice recurrent fevers, also bloody noses and some weird bruising.
When I look back, we can see in pictures definite signs, and we had no idea.
We got an initial diagnosis of strep throat, but before we knew it, they'd done a blood count check, realized that some things were off, and then we were on our way to the hospital. I spent the whole night checking my phone, learning about things that it could be other than leukemia. Literally didn't sleep a wink. I was just trying to convince myself it was something different.
There's no lag time. They start treating immediately. He was there Wednesday night. By Friday morning, he was in surgery, had his port, and was getting chemo. So you kind of just run with it. You kind of have to.
What really happens is as soon as you find out what it is, you sort of quickly shift into, okay, well, let's figure this thing out. This treatment is something that it's very common. It starts out with about a 30-day phase called induction, where he gets just kind of heavy bombardment of new chemos.
In his case, he went through the first phase, the induction phase, and he did not achieve remission. They told us 98% of kids with his type do, and he was in that 2%. That was probably our lowest point at that point.
It was worse than diagnosis, I think.
Along the way, he got some extra chemos. It's kind of surreal watching them hang a bag that is called the Red Devil.
Even though you know it's a good thing and they need it, it's a weird experience. But the good news was in December of 2017, we found out he was in remission, and he's been in remission ever since.
As he's gotten farther along in treatment, he has changed a whole lot. Now, when he goes in, he still dreads putting his port on, but now he'll handle that actually better than he has before. As far as when they hang a bag, it doesn't even faze him. He's more interested in what game he can play or what we're gonna get him for lunch afterwards.
Yeah, usually lunch. John Martin will tell anybody that his favorite superhero is the Hulk, and it's actually a perfect symbol of how he's faced the whole thing. You know, he's definitely wild and temperamental, which just steroids would make anybody be, but he's also very strong and he's got a great heart, and he's always going to be a little bit pushy, I guess would be a good word. But
probably helps him out in the long run.
He's a sweet kid, and he's been really resilient through the whole process. John Martin is in the maintenance phase right now, which means he gets 1 in-clinic treatment per month, but he's doing really well. He's really, for the most part, the same old John Martin that we've always known, very energetic, likes playing outside with his sister and his friends. Anything having to do with the playground, he's 100% all in. We haven't seen him let this keep him from doing any of the things that he likes to do.
Just watching him go through treatments and deal with what I knew if I was doing it, I would be in bed all the time. And he really just kept moving. He wanted to just be a kid.
He's living like a completely normal life. He goes to school now, and most people who just see him wouldn't even know that he's going through this right now.
Kids are way tougher than adults. They will handle things in stride, whereas adults sometimes sweat the small stuff.
It gives you a lot of perspective on what's important. It makes you want to enjoy your kids being little.
He's just happy to be back with his people again and to be able to be a kid again.